and Miss Gilman's 4th period class. I'm Amy, and I've got some great things planned for today's episode. Today I'm joined by math connoisseur Tony Bernard. So Tony, we're going to be talking about your rule and what it does. So yeah.
Sounds good.
So Tony, what exactly is Tony's rule?
Well, Amy, my rule is this. So basically on AP tests, the correct answer is most often the longest of the answer choices.
So how'd you come up with this rule?
Well, we were in AP stats class, right? And we were going over some tests before the AP exam, and I noticed that all the correct answers, or like most of them, just happened to be the longest of the answer choices.
Wow, that sounds interesting. So did you ever find out how often Tony's rule actually works?
Well, we figured since every AP test multiple choice question has 5 answer options, and one of those 5 is the longest answer, then if Tony's rule didn't work, it would work about 20% or 0.2% of the time.
Did it work more than 20% of the time?
Well, we decided to do a 1 proportion z-test, and that test compares a proportion value to a hypothesis value. So our null hypothesis was that the true proportion of correct answers also being the longest answer on the AP test is equal to 20%. And our alternative hypothesis was the true proportion of correct answers also being the longest answer is greater than 20%.
Okay, so after you guys made your hypotheses, I'm guessing you guys collected data next?
Yep. Take a guess at what we did.
Okay, I'm guessing you chose subjects first.
Yep. AP Stats, AP Psych, AP US History, AP Spanish, and AP Calculus.
Okay, so you got 5 subjects, and it's easiest to have an N of 100, so I'm guessing you guys chose 4 questions per test, totaling 20 questions per subject, and 100 questions in total.
Yep, look at you, super smart. Okay, so moving on, we had to do a test. So we got a bunch of calculators, and
wait, where did that come from?
so you go to here. Okay. And
so I am confusion.
1 proportion z-test. So we got 30 out of 100 for our p-hat, which is like, that means that 30 out of the 100 questions we sampled had the correct answer also be the longest answer, right?
So that's a lot more than 20% already.
Yeah, so we typed it in, so you put your p-hat value equals 0.30. That's how you put it in, and then your n is equal to 100, and then...
So what would you get as your p-value?
Well, don't get ahead of yourself there, Amy. First, as our z-value, we got 2.5, which then gives you a p-value of 0.00621.
Interesting. So that's really small. So, because that's a really small p-value, I'm guessing you guys actually were successful in rejecting the null hypothesis and were able to conclude that the longest answer in multiple choice questions for AP tests are correct more often than 20% of the time.
Yes, Amy. Yes.
So while testing this rule, did you run into any problems?
Actually, yes.
Oh no. What problems did you run into?
Well, since the AP tests aren't made, like, available for us, we were at a loss of resources.
So I'm guessing you didn't have access to the actual AP exams?
Yeah, we had to compromise and use AP tests, which obviously wouldn't be the same as the real AP test. We'd use practice AP tests, which wouldn't be the same as real AP tests. And, that would cause a little bit of variation. And then also, we didn't use the same practice books. Like, some of them were AMSCO, some of them were Barron's. So that might have made, like, the data a little bit weird.
So what are some further things you could have done with this project?
Well, we could have tested each subject separately, for one. We could have
maybe tested the different years to see if the proportion is different.
Yeah, good thinking, Amy.
Oh my God, can you let me do what I need to do?
And we could have, I don't know if I mentioned this, but we got a weird amount of E's on the AP Calculus test, or correct answer E's. So we could have seen if that meant anything.
But of course, we'd only be able to test this in a perfect world where we did actually have access to all of the AP exams.
Yeah. Actually, funny story, we did end up testing the subjects separately, though, and we, for every other subject besides AP Spanish, we would actually fail to reject the null hypothesis.
Wait, what?
Pay attention, Amy. So, in our original test, we had the null hypothesis and the alternative hypothesis. The null hypothesis stated that the true proportion of correct answers also being the longest answer would be equal to 20%. And the alternative hypothesis was that the true proportion of correct answers also being the longest answer is greater than 20%. So we tested each subject separately. AP Spanish was the only one that you would still fail, or that you would still reject the null hypothesis. The rest of them you would fail to reject, which means that, yeah.
So in other words, if I'm ever in a bind on my AP Spanish exam, I should just put the longest answer option? Because according to your results, it works more than 20% of the time?
Yep.
Well, fourth period statisticians, this was Tony talking about Tony's rule. Everyone, give him a round of applause. We're talking to you, fourth period. Give Tony a round of applause.
Thanks, Amy.
So before you guys leave here, always remember, if at first you don't succeed, fail again 2 times, so at least your failure is statistically significant. Alright, we'll see you guys next time. Say bye-bye, Tony.
Bye-bye, see you in class.
Leave my studio. Get out.